Hey everybody, just a quick message from Bald and Bonkers Network. We would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
In life, you never know what crystals may just lie inside what you see. This is The Inner Court, featuring Smith Bible Paranormal Investigations. Uncover the gems deep inside the mysteries to see what you discover.
Hello. I know that Miss Emily is in here. Thank you for hopping in. I do appreciate it. We are going to jump right into this. As everybody may remember from following us from 2 years or so back, we did a investigation at the Avenel house in Virginia, which was an awesome investigation. It was just nice to meet Irene and the history that she brought upon us with not only the investigation, just the history alone. It was just breathtaking because you never know, Emma, what you are going to come upon once you're there. And honestly, I knew how old the place was, but I never thought how many people have stayed there and what has gone on there. So there is a lot tonight that we will cover. I am reading from an artifact. It is the National Registration of Historical Places and Registry Form. I was going to write this in my own words, but this is just one of those shows that you just need to see. It's straight from the source. So, and I do have a little clip that I would like to show you, just a little pictures here and there of what other people have given us permission to use and what they have caught and such. So we are going to get started. If you see my head turn this way, it's because I'm looking at the screen here. I am not ignoring anybody. I will read all comments. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and put it in the chat and I will read them as we go along and answer the best way I can. And then I'm also going to put out our shop and our PayPal here for any support for upcoming investigations and ones that are to be planned. So let's get started. Avenel was built around 1836. A generous property, two-story brick dwelling, location on a rise that once overlooked the town of Liberty. The house is now surrounded by the turn-of-a-century residential neighborhood in the city of Bedford. Avenel is imposed in scale, plain and detailed, of the Victorian architect and ruined central Virginia. During the first half of the 19th century, the comparison architecture blend of Greek and federal styling. The main house is extraordinary for the high degree of architectural integrity, three-framed dependent building, which have survived, and the ruins of the brick kitchen built previous provides evidence of the complex of independent buildings that made up the residence property in the 19th century. Now, this place is not as big as it was before. This was sitting on, if I read it correctly, 40 acres. They had the barn in the back. They had the kitchen off to the side. The kitchen back then was not connected to the house. They had a covered walkway that went from the kitchen to the house, which was about maybe 15, 20 feet away from the house. So it wasn't that far. But during the winter and the cold and, the rain and whatever they went through back then, like we do now, it had to be suitable for the maids and the people that work there to get from one to the other. So they don't have it covered now. They have the wraparound bridge, as you would see in my background here. Avalon is located on the rise of the north of the center of the community, now called Bedford. When the house was built around 1836, Evelyn's suit was runic. Through it was only a short distance from the discrete grid pattern of developing distance from a lot. Sorry, I skipped a line. When you guys come in, please share out. I will also do so in just a second. I do want to get started on this because I do have a lot to read. The lots that formed the town of Liberty. So before it was Bedford, Virginia, it was Liberty, Virginia. And then once the towns came to up to date and stuff like that, they changed the name. Evelyn. The house of William M. Burwell is important for its and classical architectural ideas during the second quarter of the 19th century, and architecturally blend both of the federal and Greek ravine. The house exemplifies how skilled local master craftsmen using a pattern book of the high style architectural ideas of the period of product residential for the planner class of the mid-19th century period in Virginia. Avalon is an exceptional resource, not only because it is and its quality, but also because of its unusual degree of intelligence, which extended even to the detail of the locks and keys. So they made it fancy, per se. Now, later on, I will be reading part of a book that William's daughter, Letitia Brawell. It is called A Girl's Life in Virginia Before the War. This goes into detail of her life on the plantation and what happened, who was there, what was there. So it definitely goes in detail. So if you guys have any questions, when you guys hop in, please, I'm not sure if it's just not popping up for me. So please say hello. Let me know what network you're coming from. If it's Facebook, go ahead and hit that accept button so I can see you in the chat. Other than that, it will show Facebook user and I won't know who it is. And I love to chat with you guys. But the Avalon place was a very interesting place for us. Um, there was a lot of famous people that stayed there. Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Lee. Um, there was a lot of marriages that were done there back then, like they do now. They do venues, they do overnights, they do, vacations if you want it there. So it is definitely a great place. On the first floor, the level of the main central hall divided the front part of the house into two ample formal rooms, the parlor and the dining room. The rear part of the house are two additional rooms that open off the rear hallway, plus the space in the building's northwest corner that formally compares the lower level of the house. Upstairs are two large bedrooms on the front of the house, open off the wide central hall. The that formerly provided access to the upper level of the south entrance porch. So on the back of the house, if you guys could see on my background here, you will see the porch that you used to be able to go onto. You can't now. They still have the door there, but they don't allow people to go on there for safety reasons, which is understandable. But back then, you would be able to see what is called the Lady in White. And I will show you what I mean about that in just a second. Upstairs Central Hall formally provides open level. Sorry, guys. The ordinary doorway to the porch with the side light and the trellis remains. At the second floor level of the house, there was no access between the hallways. There is, however, direct access from the west bedroom to the lodge. And there is access from the east bedroom to the rear hallway. And from there would be a northeast bedroom. The space at the easternmost end of the rear hallway at the second floor level must have been altered, though possibly not long after the building of the house. So they did do, and she did say that Miss Irene said that they did do some altercations on the house because of the way the layout was. It was hard to get from one side of the upstairs to the other without having to go back down the stairs, go around, and go back up the stairs, because there is two stairways. The plan suggests a separation of the house into two halves, the front and the back, and yet both are nearly equal in the formally and portion in space. Another instead of separation in space is an absence of the internally access between the basement and the main floor. The basement is accessible only from the exterior from the doorway on the north and west side of the house. Now, the west side is still open, but it's underneath the porch. The back, the north, is still accessible, but they don't allow anybody to go down there. The basement level is unfurnished and divided exclusively by bearing walls. There is no architectural evidence of the use than the foundation, essentially, is what they used it for. You learn about their windows. Let me see if I can get that picture up. So, it's a banner. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I will be more than happy to answer them. So this first picture I am going to show will be of the lady in white, which is the next topic of this plantation we will be discussing. You can see her in the window. She is right next to the pillar, which is pretty cool. Now this is to be known the daughter, Letitia. And she is known to roam the porch. As she was a child, she roamed the porch. So that's like her favorite place to go and to play. So with that being said, she would, show up throughout the house, which wasn't a big deal. But as time grew and she would pass away, then it would be one of those she would just pop up. And this is the house itself. This porch wraps all the way around. Back here, the little doorway here is going into the basement. This is that top porch here that has that doorway that comes out. It is accessible, but they do not allow people to go on there for safety reasons. When we were investigating, I did see figures moving up there, so that was pretty awesome. The picture, Miss Irene, Caitlin, would always say, I don't think I've ever had this house, been in this house when something was not happening. So every time she was in there, either setting up for a venue or whatever the case may be, something would happen one way or another. So there's this one. So Letitia, the daughter of William, wrote a book. And this book was her life on the plantation, which goes in great detail. Let me see if I can, I'll just share it. So this is the book that she actually made out of a potato sack and what thread she had, which being a child and a teenager or whatever age she was, and that is her name at the bottom. And then you got beautiful pictures from back then. This is in the actual back room to the right. So that was one of their balls that they would have. And it does. So this is actually pretty cool. I was able to research this to see if there was anything else. And this is her life in Virginia before the war. And it was from 1895. And then there's a dedication to my nieces and who found English and American publish such expression applied to their ancestors as such cruel slave owners, inhumane wrench, Southern test keepers. Oh, let me bring it over here. Dealers in human souls, etc. From these, they will naturally recall with humor. My own life would have been exceptional had I believed myself to be descended from such monsters, and that those who come after us may know the truth. I wish to leave a record of plantation life as it was. The truth may thus be preserved among a few. So she definitely wanted to make sure that her life here would be remembered. There we go. Better read it. Let's do this. I do apologize. I am here. And you guys come in, please say hello. Give me a second and I will share out so we can get more people in here. Thursday, I will be putting out our investigation portion of this. That way, you guys can see what we went through. I do have pictures of the general actually standing in the back. Hey, hon. Hi, Alan. How you doing, babe? And then, it's just a lot of great stuff that we have went through there at this house. This is a plantation that I definitely would love to, now that we have updated our camera equipment, go back and redo. Honestly, when we did do this, you're going to see Thursday a lot of dark spots just because we were just starting out with the equipment. So as we learned over the few years, give me 1 second. I'm going to share out real quick and then we will continue reading. For those that are hopping in, thank you. Loops, hobbies, and more. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. If you guys could do the same as I'm doing, share it out. We are talking tonight about the Avenel Plantation in Virginia. It's in Bedford, Virginia. This was an awesome, awesome place to go. So if you guys have any questions for us, please let us know. I did put our shop and PayPal down here in the scroll. All that does is it helps us out with our travels to the next location. Everybody knows, if you don't, we will be traveling not this weekend, but the weekend after Thanksgiving to PA. And if I do accidentally share it to you, and I've already shared it to you, please just help share that link out. I do appreciate it. Oh, I think I shared it out to somebody that didn't want me to share it to them. I'm sorry. So, oh, I hear hubby. Swish, swish, swish. Oh, sorry, Ken. I accidentally sent it to you. See, I told you I'd do that. Not meaning to. But I guess it all works at the end, don't it, babe? All right. So I think that was it. Now, getting back to this. This plantation was built in 1836, and it was built for William and his wife and his 2 daughters. His family lived there. They had General Robert E. Lee live there, stay there. He didn't live there, but stay there along his travels. And then you had Edgar Allan Poe that stayed there. You had a bunch of different well-known people stay there. Robert E. Lee actually had, and this is pretty neat. You'll see more of this as we progress. And Thursday, because we actually did a 2-hour video of history with Miss Irene. She was amazing. If anybody goes there, I highly recommend have her doing a history lesson. It does not take away from your investigation at all. She will take time to actually walk you through it, which she is just up roast amazing. Robert E. Lee stood at the table at the front door, and this line of soldiers would go on for miles. I mean, miles. Down the road, down the hill, and he would stand there, and shake every single soldier's hand until not even one was left behind. He was very, very dedicated to the men, letting them know how proud he was of them. And Edgar Allan Poe, he was there. He did a lot of his great writing there. It was his stop along his trail, but he did stay there. The front office was where the general worked, and he stayed upstairs, which was an awesome place because Hatfield or McQuill. Hatfield. McCoyle and Lutz, babe. I believe so, both of them. It was a very short visit for either one, but yeah. It was, this place is, like I said, it was amazing. It was before, of course, the modern days took over and they wanted to sell the property, chop it down. It was a 40-acre piece of land that they had a brick kitchen, sorry, and they have a barn. The kitchen was about maybe 20 feet off the house, and they did not have a kitchen in the house back then in the 1836. So what I am going to read is a book that actually Letitia William Burwell's daughter wrote when she was young. This was published in 1895. She wrote this as a young child growing up or a young teenager growing up. And it just goes in absolute detail of what the life was on the plantation and what she went through. So that, I'm going to start reading it. It's called The Girl's Life in Virginia Before the War. I will put the link real quick in the chat down here. So if you guys would like to go through and finish reading this book, I do highly recommend it. It is a good read, a very good read. It is A Girl's Life in Virginia Before the War. This is her life, and it goes in detail. That my birthplace should have been a Virginia plantation. A lot of my life cast on a Virginia plantation. My ancestors of 9 generations, owners of Virginia plantations, remained facts, mystery, and incomplainable. But to him who determined the bound of our inheritance and said, "Be still and know that I am God." Confined exclusively to the Virginia plantation during my earlier childhood, I believe the world, once a vast plantation, bounded by Negro quarters, rows of white cabins, with gardens attached, Negro men in the fields, Negro women sewing, knitting, spinning, weaving, housekeeping in the cabins, with Negro children dancing, romping, singing, jumping, playing around the of these doors. These formed the only pictures familiar to my childhood. The master's residence, as the Negro called it, the great house, occupied a central position and was handsome and attractive. The overseers, being the planters, house about a mile from this. Each cabin had as much as furniture as the occupant desired, pine and oak being abundant. The carpenters always at work for the comfort of the plantation. Bread, meat, milk, vegetable, fruit, and fuel were the plentiful as water in the spring near the cabin doors. Beyond 100 years on our plantation, many had been taught different trades, and there were blacksmiths, carpenters, masons, millers, shoemakers, weavers. Hey, babe. Uh, spinners, all working for themselves. No article of their handcrafts ever been sold from the place. Their industry results in nothing beyond feeding and clothing themselves. My sister and myself, when very small children, would often carry to visit the cabins, on which occasion on young princesses could have received from admiring. So this is a picture of the book I will show you guys. I will show you bits and pieces as we go because it's a lot of reading, but yet there is some beautiful pictures that are here. This is a masonry, a carpenter always at work for those of comfort of the plantation. So this is a carpenter being visited, probably by his wife, which is, this is a drawing. So this is an awesome drawing that they did back then. Subjects more present were laid out at our feet. No glittery gems, but eggs, chestnuts, popcorn, walnuts, melons, apples, sweet potatoes, all their cupboards affordable, which a generous abundance. This made us as happy as queens, and filled our hearts with kindness and gratitude to our dusty admirers. Around the cabin doors, the young boys would quiller as to who should be his or her mistress, some claiming me and others my sister. So they would have little boys at their door asking for hand in marriage at a very young age. And back then, they would accept that. We were merry hearted, and among them I never saw a discounter face. The amusements were dancing to the music of a banjo, quilting parties, possum hanging, and sometimes weddings and parties. Many could read, and in most every cabin was a Bible, and one was a prayer book kept by one of the men, and a preacher from which he read a marriage ceremony at a wedding. This man opened a night school, charging 25 cents a week, hoping to create some literature thirst in this rising generation. whose members, however, preferred their nightly float to the school, as in they would prefer to party and drink. So it had few patrons. Our house servants were numbered, polite, and well trained. My mother selected those most obedient in disposition, and quickly to learn who were brought to the house in 10 or 12 years, at 10 or 12 years of age, and instructed in the branch of the household employment. So they would hire them young, and back then it was very okay, I guess. I wouldn't think so for a child, but I guess that's what they did. These small servants were always dressed in the cleanest, whitest, and long sleeved aprons with white and red bonnets on their heads. No establishment begin considering complete without a manipulative of them, multiplication of whatever. They might be seen consistent darting out and about on errands from the house to the kitchen and the cabins, upstairs, downstairs, being indeed in need. It was a custom for a lady visitor to, hey sis, how you doing, hon, to be accompanied by to her mother to her room at night by one of these boys, smiling and desperate, who insist of a good nature and on performing all offices, minding her hair, pulling off her slippers, etc. That one had not the heart to refuse, although it would have been something more agreeable to be left alone. The Negro would generally please at the applause of visitors, from whom they were accused to receive some presents on. So this is another picture from the book. Trying to show as we go. The little girl and the one young servant that was there. Arriving and departing, the neglect of the right being regarded as a branch of politeness, were quite patient, love to talk about old times, and attract great respect from the young Negroes, and also from the younger members of the white family. We called the old men uncle and the old women aunt, these being terms of respect. So this was a very, very good story. I will show another picture, but this is like over 100 pages, so we could be here all night. So we're not going to do that tonight, even though I probably could. This is, I'm going to show this, but it's going to be hard to see. Let me see. So for everyone coming in, thank you for coming in. We are talking about the history of the Avenel House. This is in the West Bedford, Virginia. It is a historical house full of history. You can talk to the staff there, Irene Caitlin. She is quick to tell you there may be something else inside these stored walls. So if you guys could see right here, this is the lady in white. They would believe this would be Letitia, the daughter. So, and there hasn't gone a time where Miss Irene has not seen anything happen in this house. Everywhere she goes, she's either seeing a shadow or hearing a voice or whatever the case may be. This is also an apparition of a lady in white. That's what they would call her, the lady in white, because, she would always be in that white, bright dress. And it says she has been seen in the house, gliding through the house, and a lot of the neighbors see her looking out the windows. I have a few pictures that you guys will see tomorrow or not tomorrow, Thursday. Yep, that was it. I thought there was more. Okay, so it was William M. Burwell and his wife Frances. So I couldn't remember his wife's name, but it was Frances. The guests of the house includes the author Edgar Allan Poe, George Bagby, General Robert E. Lee, at the table of which he drank and sighed with the lady in white for various areas of the house. Letitia Burwell, known as the Miss Letite, is known to have died in the house. She was one of the 4 daughters, William Burwell, and is believed to be the lady in white. In 1895, Letitia would write a book that would document her life at the plantation, which I just read a little bit of. Letitia's father, William, served with a 28th Virginia Infantry during the Civil War. Letitia was known to be engaged to the Captain Clark, who also served during the Civil War. 1906, James Billiard purchased the Avenel house and lived there with his wife and 6 kids. Oh, wow. One of James' daughters, Peggy Burwell, died in 1999, and her funeral at the Avenel and this is where the accusations come, and we didn't witness it. Again, we were just there for one night. If you go in the very first hallway there, you would see what looked like, and this wouldn't happen all the time, but Miss Irene was telling us that there was a night where she was closing up and she felt this force just stop her at her knees. Well, since they did the funeral there has been seen a coffin in that walk area right inside the door, and they would leave it there so you could visit, say your goodbyes, and then they would proceed. So, and that was pretty awesome. So this is a very interesting house. I do recommend, if people do go there, to go check this out. Now, let's see how it is. That's the one I need. So how's everybody's night going? Very well, thanks for asking. Yep. So again, for those that are coming in, I do appreciate everybody coming in and joining me tonight. This is one of, and I do have a lot of places that we go to that I call my favorite, but this is truly one of the best ones that, we have been to. Let me pull it up. Where did it go? Oh, it's over here. It went onto the wrong screen. Of course you would. Why would you? There we go. All right. Share the screen. I'm glad everybody's having a fabulous night. Stressful, but I am okay. So, yeah, you will definitely gain control. So this is that room that they would have all the parties in, which they would call the general's place. And because he would come and sit here, there used to be a table right in the middle. This is the back stairwell, taking right here, which is the front stairwell. And you would see the lady going up, the lady in white. And then there was also, I don't know what that is. Is that somebody's stuff? I don't know if that's a gadget or what it is, but it looks solid. So I don't know. And this right here where the rug is where they would stick that coffin for everybody to come and see and visit and stuff. But if you look in this photo right here, you see a face. Oh, I clicked it. So there's one there and there's one here, which is pretty cool, I could say. So this is the writing area. This would pull out, and then you would take your chair and pull up to that. They have some great artifacts that were left behind. This is what Letitia's book looked like. She actually made that by hand, and then they just replicated that out to when they published it, because she wanted it to look a certain way, authentic and from her day and age. But if you look, you can see how the stitching is. She definitely took some great deal into making sure that it was well known that it was hers. And this is that shadow that was crossing the field. I believe this is the side. This is that bay window. It might be the kitchen, so it might be the back. But that was pretty cool also. But this is the house itself. This porch wraps all the way around. This is the porch up top that they would talk about, where the general people would just meet and sit and have coffee or just a shot or whatnot. And then this goes down to the basement. And there is another one over here, but because of the porch, you're really not able to get to it unless you move the white lattice that's there. So this was awesome. She said every time you take pictures, look in the windows, because you never know what you're going to see. Like right here. Short figure right there. But again, you never know what you're going to see until you take pictures. That is, and was also, you see the door here. This was also a porch as well, but they wound up taking that down because it was too much nowadays on the weight and support on the roof of this porch. So that's why. Yep, this is that lady in white. Now that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So now you can see the lady in white. Looks a little creepy. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it does. But it was great evidence that they caught. So, yes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I don't think next week I will have anything. Sis, if you have any shows you want me to do with you, let me know. But next week I will be preparing for us to leave for our investigation. So as everyone knows, I kind of like to overpack, but I'd rather overpack than not pack enough, you know? So we do have quite a bit going on next week. So if there's anything that I can recap on or anything you guys want me to do as a fun, quick show, let me know. Maybe Tuesday we'll just do a panel up. Sis, if you're not doing anything Tuesday, maybe, or Wednesday, or both, it doesn't matter to me. We could pick topics to do, which is great. If you guys have any questions for me, please let me know. Again, I put our shop link here down underneath. I'm trying to follow it and my hand's going off the screen. Sorry, that was just a me thing. And our PayPal, all that does is help support us on our journey. We will be, yeah, that'd be great. We'll talk about that after here. We will be starting traveling more and more as the time goes on. But every bit helps with either the rental of the vehicle, because mine is crap at the moment. It still runs. It's fine. I just don't want to chance it taking it out of state. That's the only problem I have. It's our everyday vehicle here. So if we can do that, then that would be wonderful. And our hotel stays and our investigations. We do have a few other investigations when we are in Virginia that we would like to check out. So every penny helps to get us to that. And if you guys have anything in your state that you would like for us to come and investigate and check out, please let us know. We will set it up. Since winter is coming, unless we have a travel time to travel to warmer states and such like that, it will be just shows. But once the warmer weather comes, then we will be traveling more. Again, it's one of those air joint. We love going out and investigating, but our joints just don't like it. There has been times where we're walking and it's flat and my knee gives out or Chad's hip pops. So it's just one of those. Again, if you guys could share out, do not miss Thursday. That will be the investigation of this topic, the Evelyn house, the plantation. We did actually catch a few apparitions. I was trying to find, and it's not allowing me to. Maybe it's here, and I'm just not looking. Give me 1 second, y'all. I think it's right here, and I wasn't paying attention. My hubby. Nope. There was one. Oh, right there. I found it. Oh, nope. Not doing that. So this is a picture that we actually took. It was me and one of Tiffany's old friends. And not really what I wanted, but okay. This is the general. You see the rifle here? And here, I'm telling you, we were standing behind, as you see, the camera here, we were standing behind all of that. So this was even going off. This is our EMF pump that they can use, and as it gets brighter, that means they're using it. So we did have some evidence of him showing up and stuff. and we will add more pictures to it. But this was one that I thought was fascinating because we actually caught the general, and it has been known to catch him and standing in this hall. And honestly, what they say I do take as credible evidence, but unless I catch it or I experience it, it's one of those, it just because it happened for them, it's not going to happen for me type thing. So, yeah, we definitely have some great stuff. And this is that front step area. This is when you first walk in. Right in here is underneath the stairs, which was pretty interesting. This is the upstairs that I was talking about, the two front rooms. This door goes out on that front. It's not the front porch, but it's that back patio area. Again, this is another area we were not allowed in here because they turned it into an office. This, let's see if it'll let me. Caught some children playing here, which was pretty awesome because, like they said, they would see the slave children in and out, playing around the doors, on the stairs, gallivanting and stuff like that. So this gives great credibility to that. That's just the dark room right as we were getting ready to start. Really don't think we caught anything, but no, for a minute there I thought that was a foot. It's not a foot, it's the end of the table, and sorry. My eyes like to play tricks on me. Again, just the room. We were just getting ready. Same thing. It's the same room. We always like to take 3 to 4 pictures. But, and this is the little boy. You see it's a little boy with the short haircut and the stuff, right there, just sitting and watching, one of them kids that like to watch through the through the banisters before they get their heads stuck. But no, seriously, that was a pretty awesome that we were able to find that. I'm glad that I was able to find a few of the pictures. So this is that back hallway that I said I saw the general in. He was standing right here, nice and tall. And this is the same thing, but he's not here yet because we weren't actually investigating. I was just walking around taking different pictures here and there. And I don't understand what this is. This keeps popping up in every single picture, so it's got to be something. I just don't know. That is just how that goes. So again, this is the back upstairs. I believe this is the front part of the stairs because it's literally a V. It comes down and then it's a landing here and then it goes back up. So now they have it connected. Back then they did not. You would go down one stairs, have to go all the way around the house to go back up the stairs. So that was pretty awesome. And this was that Boo Bear that we set there. This is a chair. I did lighten this up at one point because I thought, and I had to make sure, that there was a person standing here, and it wasn't. But this is that Boo Bear that if something touches it, it will talk, how you doing? It will sing the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s. And then we got all of these little dots that pop up. And we weren't quite sure what they were. They seemed to be little orb things. Yeah. See what I mean? Little speckle. That one. That's the K2. Looking at it on my end, I see it a little darker than what you guys see on the actual thing. So same thing. This is called the grandmom's room only because the little boy would come in and hang out with grandma or take a nap in her bed. So this was his favorite room to be in. So again, you guys will be able to see a lot of these pictures Thursday. I will have them in the video. That is our SLS over here, I believe. What it looks like, don't it? Yeah, that's what it is. And this is our adopted daughter. Her name is Rachel. She has abilities as well, and she wanted to go with us on this investigation, so we brought her along. Over here is a shadow of a little boy. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, there we go. You guys see that right there? That's the little boy. And again, we got all of these dots. We really weren't quite sure. My camera was literally brand new, so we weren't sure what all the dots were because the dots didn't show up on the actual camera. So, and there was one point when we were in there before we even started investigating, we were just setting up. There was an indent on the side of the bed as somebody sat down. So that was also pretty cool too. So this is a red orb because we didn't have anything near that mirror there. So this was a elemental fire orb or heat or yeah. And this was a mirror out there. I think that was just our reflection, but nope, not doing that. That's just a blank picture. I don't know if I accidentally hit it or what happened, but this gives you an overview of the room itself, the grandmom's room. This is her mirror. Now here are 4 dots. These dots weren't there before. They weren't on there as stickers or something. So I'm not quite sure if they were orbs just hanging out trying to check us out or what it was. But that was pretty cool. So that is Rachel. She was interacting with the little boy. If you see, and she didn't touch the bed, the little indent right there. Let me know if you guys could see that. That was pretty cool. Like somebody just sat down on the bed, which was pretty awesome. And that's the Boo Bear that we were borrowing from somebody. And then our K2, we did have some cat balls there. There has been known to have, the cat balls and stuff. A silhouette of a black cat. I do have that in one of my pictures. It's not in this set. So here's an orb here. Let's see if I can. Uppy. So that was pretty cool to catch. And I didn't know. A lot of this stuff you don't know until you go through them later on. That, like I was saying, this is the main hallway. Again, you would be able to come up here and go that way. This is that landing that now connects both. But other than that, you would have to go down the stairs, walk around inside of the house, and then go from there. That is just, I think, our EMF pump, which we will be taking with us. Yeah, that's our EMF pump. All that does is allow the spirits and entities, whatever is around, to draw energy from that versus air equipment, which I believe is very, very good to have. Only because if you don't have that, They will draw energy from whatever electronic equipment you have. Sometimes they don't mean it. It's just the source that is there. If you're willing to communicate with them and you're giving them the acceptance to do so. And sometimes they mean it because they want to show themselves. They don't care. So this is just us going down one. I was actually up on that landing. I do apologize. My cat just entered. So you would go up here and go in. This was set up as a little museum with some artifacts that was given to them. Oh, cat. So this is that room I was talking about that was up on that right side. What are you doing? Did you just see that? She just tried to jump on me. God. She's being impatient. I do apologize, guys. But this was that meeting room. They do have the flag there. They would do all their debates and their meetings and stuff there, which was pretty awesome. Same thing. Yes, I know it's a little dark, but they didn't really have good night vision light. We only had these little tiny things. Would you stop it? Guys, I apologize. This is that front room. I actually had a sensor here. Over here. Lay down. I'm almost done. This is other devices. That's the K2. For some reason, this whole thing was blocked out, and I don't know why. Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted. No. So this should not be, there was nothing there. Nothing. And it could have been just a shadow from the wall. But, thank God. Sorry. She wants attention. She wants attention. So I did try to look in the other windows and no evidence of the white lady. This is just the glare from the lights. Same thing there. We were setting up and I have it panned so where it sat there for a few minutes or so while we left the room. This is just another pan of the room itself. But that was it. There will be a lot more, obviously, coming Thursday when I go and show you guys the investigation portion. It is pretty long, so I will condense it down as far as I can. A lot of hours. We were there technically overnight. So until then, check out our shop. If you feel like you can help and donate to our adventures on the road, do so with the PayPal. Let me know. That way I can check it, making sure it got there. Other than that, we love you guys. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Stay spooky. And we love you guys until the next. All right, guys. We love you. Have a great night.